So let's get into this bay and bay stuff. Now, Bay and Bay's truck leasing company, they apparently call it Anderson Leasing, and under this lease, they refer to themselves as the leaseor, and you are the leasee. Now, one thing that jumps out at me is in the very first paragraph. If you are married, you go out and you buy a car or you lease a vehicle. If you apply for a credit card as an individual, not jointly, if you go buy or lease something and your spouse is not a party to the application, whether it be a loan application, credit card application, whatever, you cannot make your spouse be obligated or liable for any debt that you may incur because he or she did not apply jointly with you. Your LLC is either going to, if you have an LLC, it's either going to be a single member or multiple members, two or more members. And if you have a corporation, Inc., well, then you would have stockholders, board of directors, whether that's you and your wife or whatever. You have those individuals involved. They cannot be made to be obligated together with you or individually. And the language that they use, the above named leaseor, meaning Anderson Leasing, hereby leases to the above named leasee, meaning you, and all lessees, owners and officers, jointly and severally. And what that means is they're trying to obligate you, since you're the one signing the paperwork. They're trying to obligate all other members of your LLC. So if you and your wife or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, if you have this LLC together, okay, if you have a corporation and they are shareholders in that corporation, they are a member of your board of directors, they're trying to hold them jointly with you liable, making them obligated same as you. They're also trying to hold them severally, meaning individually. Yeah, they've severed from one. They're trying to hold them individually responsible. And you cannot commit me to be financially responsible for something that you're doing. As a member of the LLC, you can sign on behalf of the LLC, committing and obligating the LLC to something. You can do that, but you cannot obligate me personally. Okay, and that's what they're trying to do here. And then it comes on down with a bunch of gibberish telling you about the term and the lease payments, and then they refer you, which this is really just a bunch of damn gibberish. It doesn't mean anything, but they tell you that everything is outlined in Schedule A, which we'll get to in another video. Then they tell you about the place and payment and your obligation to pay. I don't understand the purpose of putting nonsensical BS like this in here. Same thing with delinquency charges, because they're the ones controlling your money. They're the ones dispatching your load. They're the ones, providing your fuel card. You're getting a weekly settlement. They've already taken out your lease payment for your truck. They've already taken out your fuel. If a lot of places will charge you, like, every time you use that fuel card, they might charge you like 75 cents. Well, that goes in their pocket. And that's just for the privilege of you using their fuel card. And then they'll charge you another fee if you take a cash advance. But my point is, they're the ones controlling your income. So why put this nonsense in here? Because you're getting your loads from them. They're billing the customer. You're paying for everything. You're paying for the truck, the insurance. You're paying for insurance you really don't need, because, like bobtail insurance, for example, you only have to have bobtail insurance when you're bobtail. You're not attached to a trailer, whether you're loaded or empty. And most bobtail policies will only last 3 to 5 days. That's the length of the term. So why you're being charged every single settlement for bobtail insurance is beyond me, because bobtail policy excuse me, your bobtail policy, again, is only going to be good for 3 to 5 days, and that's only going to cost you a couple $100 for that bobtail policy. So why are you paying every single pay period for a bobtail policy that you don't even know if they have it in place? You're not giving any proof of that. But anyway, they're talking about your obligation pay and your place of payment, your delinquency charges. Then they get into no warranties are implied. Whatever warranties on the vehicle from the manufacturer is all the warranty that you're going to get. And they're telling you that you're responsible for repair and maintenance needed to keep the equipment in proper operating order. And this may include taking all steps necessary to maintain any manufacturer's warranty, changing the oil and filters per the manufacturer's specifications, having an oil sample analysis conducted per manufacturer's specifications, and arranging to have a copy of the analysis results sent directly to the leaseor. That's BS. How often are they wanting that done? They don't say. They just say that you have to have it done per the manufacturer's recommendation. But that's all they say. You got to keep equipment in good operating condition, blah, 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 blah. Now this one kind of caught me by surprise. they're using a per annum rate or annual percentage rate of 12% on the termination value of your lease. Now, anyone who's ever financed an automobile before, whether you bought the vehicle or whether you leased the vehicle, you're paying interest, all right, through that lease or through the installment loan. And now, anyone who's ever financed one before knows that, let's say it's a 5-year loan. All right, you're buying a brand new car, and it's going to be a 5-year loan or 60 months. Then let's say you're getting I don't know, in today's world, let's say you're getting a 4.5% rate. I might be low on that, but let's just say 4.5%. Okay. So the way auto loans work, if it's like a 60-month loan, well, for the first probably 2 years, probably a year and a half, more than 90% of your monthly payment is going to be going strictly to interest, because when bank loans money, okay, they collect their money first. So they're getting the interest off of that first. And so let's say you get if you have, let's say, a $30,000 loan, then, and it's going to be for 60 months, okay? So let's say your total finance charges over the life of that loan is going to be $3,000, $2,500, and you're going to make payments to them of, say, $299 a month. Well, the first $2,500 that you pay in those monthly payments is going to interest. All right. Actually, probably about the first $1,800 is going to be going to interest mostly. And then, you know, as you pay that loan down, the principal becomes smaller, and the amount of your monthly payment that goes towards interest also reduces. And if, let's say, if it's a 5-year loan and you call in after 2 years, you want to check your balance, how much you owe remaining on that auto loan, and you're shocked when, you know, you had a $30,000 loan, and after you've been paying on it for 2 years, you know, you're shocked to hear that you still owe $27,000, for example. Might be about 24 by the time 2 years rolls around, but let's just say it's $27,000. So that should tell you right there, you know, where your money's been going, because it's been primarily going to interest. Well, on this, they're using an interest rate of 12% annually. Okay. Now listen to this. The termination value of the equipment shall be equal to the current fair market value as shown on Schedule A, minus the principal portion of lease payments made to date, using an inputted rate of 12% per annum. And so that means that they're basing your lease on 12%. So you figure the first, the bulk of your first year is going to pay the interest on that lease. And if you default on it, that way they can try to hang most of the unpaid value of that lease, they can try to pursue that. I don't think they get very far with it, but they'll try. Lease agrees to procure and maintain continuously on and after the effective date general liability, which that's different, physical damage, and other insurance as leaseor may require from time to time, and to immediately furnish evidence thereof satisfactory to leaseor. Leasee agrees all such insurances shall be in a standard form in an amount of at least $1 million per occurrence for general liability policy. And in an amount at least equal to the termination value for a physical damage policy with all insurers satisfactory to leaseor. Now, this is the first time that I've seen a lease, a truck lease, where they're wanting you to get general liability. That's a CYA policy for them. However, it's beneficial to you. But what I would recommend to everyone, always, not just with Bay and Bay, but everyone, you never know what's going to happen, and a general liability policy is, in the grand scheme of things, is pretty cheap. When I was working as a contractor, every year I had to renew my general liability policy, and that's kind of a catch-all policy. You have auto coverage, okay? If you get in an accident, get sued, well, then they're going to file a claim against your insurance company, okay, against your policy. But nowadays, especially in one of these, a lot of them will try to come after you personally, okay? And so it's not enough going after your insurance company excuse me, to file a claim against your physical damage policy, but because you were driving it, they want to file an action against you. And so by you, your LLC, having general liability coverage, that would protect you. There's ways around all of that. You'd have to get involved with trusts and foundations and things like that to more or less make yourself judgment proof, but that's different topics for different days. These days, if you get into an accident, whether it's your fault or not, you can rest assured that $1 million coverage ain't gonna be enough. They'll be coming after you for like $3 and $4 million. So I'm going to end this video on that topic on insurance, and I'm going to tell you that it is money well spent, regardless of whether you're with Bay and Bay or if you're with someone else. But to get yourself a general liability policy, all right, because that covers you. If you're in a parking lot at a Walmart and you back up and you bang into someone's vehicle, okay, again, you personally, they could go after you because you were operating the vehicle. So a general liability policy is not really a bad thing. But I would recommend to everyone two things. Number one, join OOIDA. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $15 for the year. They even have a lifetime membership program. But try to get your insurances. Don't go through the carrier. Don't go through Bay and Bay. Get your insurances on your own. All right. Again, it's about controlling costs and removing a profit center from them. Because these carriers, they'll want to cover all of your insurances on their fleet policy. But you can typically get policies with the same coverages for lower premiums if you go get it on your own and don't go through them. And legally, they can't stop you, okay? You have the ability. You don't have to accept their insurances. You have the ability to get insurance coverage on your own as long as it meets their criteria. That's spelled out in the lease. You don't have to tell them that you're getting your own insurance up front. Okay? When it comes time to sign your lease documents, well then, provide them with a certificate of insurance from your insurance company, and it'll have the VIN number for that leased vehicle and all of this stuff. Keep as much of this stuff separate away from them as you can. Try and get your own tablet. A lot of companies want to charge you like $50 and $60 and $70 a week when you could be paying $10 a month for a tablet. So that's it for today, and I'll cover page 2 of the lease in a separate video. See you, bye.